Assalamu alaikum. Sabah al-Khair. My name is Mariam Rahim, and I'll be your mistress of ceremony this morning. Welcome to the inaugural International Islamophobia Conference here in the Capital District of New York. Honored guests, panelists, and delegates, we thank you for joining us today, November 14th, 2015, as we explore the negative effects of religious hatred and bigotry that is rampant across the world. The Muslims of the Americas and the Muslim Community Center of the Capital District does not endorse the actions of panelists and delegates and participants, and explicitly disclaims any responsibility for the views expressed, information provided by speakers, panelists, or attendees. We would like to start today with recitation of Holy Quran, lines 46 through 48 of Surah Al-Ma'idah. Please welcome Abdul-Kareem Abdul Ali, graduate of the International Quranic Open University.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقفينا على آثارهم بعيسى ابن مريم مصدقا لما بين يديه من التوراة وآتيناه الإنجيل فيه هدى ونور ومصدقا لما بين يديه من التوراة وهدى وموعظة للمتقين. وليحكم أهل الإنجيل بما أنزل الله فيه ومن لم يحكم بما أنزل الله فأولئك هم الفاسقون. وأنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه من الكتاب ومهيمنا عليه فاحكم بينهم بما أنزل الله ولا تتبع أهواءهم عما جاءك من الحق. لكل جعلنا منكم شرعة ومنهاجا ولو شاء الله لجعلكم أمة واحدة ولكن ليبلوكم فيما آتاكم فاستبقوا الخيرات إلى الله مرجعكم جميعا فينبئكم بما كنتم فيه تختلفون. صدق الله العظيم.
front for that beautiful recitation, Abdul-Kareem. Please rise for the national anthem performed by Sakina Abdul-Razak.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was beautiful. I would like to call upon the Chief Executive Officer of the Muslims of America Incorporated, Honorable Khalifa Hussein Adams.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings to you all. I would like to introduce, it gives me tremendous honor and a pleasure to request His Eminence Prince Sayyid Sultan Muhammad Ahmad Shah Gillani Al-Hashimi to declare the conference open.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
With great pleasure and honor, I officially declare the International Islamophobia Conference open. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
We are shocked and deeply saddened to become aware of the horrific attack yesterday in Paris, France. Please join us in a moment of silence in honor of the innocent lives lost. Thank you. Our thoughts and prayers are with their families. The Imam of the Muslims of America and Vice Chancellor of the International Quranic Open University, His Eminence El-Sheikh Saeed Mubarak Ali Shah Gillani Al-Hashmi Al-Hassani Wal-Husseini has prepared a special video address. Please pay special attention to the monitors at the left and right of the stage.
El-Sheikh, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, ala Rasulil Kareem. I welcome all the delegates and guests and Reverend Father in this conference, Islamophobia conference, as the chairman. It is a great honor for me to address you. However, I must clarify one position, that I have always been addressing people verbatim. But this time, I have to quote facts and figures which I have to read and inform you about those things which is related to Islamophobia. That is why I was using this opportunity to address you. I'm very happy to present in this meeting, indeed, because my son, my father, all are Americans, and I should have been here. Why? Because it's Islamophobia. Because of Martin Wall, Dogger, all these people have threatened to kill me. So therefore, I'm addressing you through video conference, and I will inform you that this address of mine is going to be source of information, guidance, reference, and direction for all those who are going to do further the call. First of all, I will let you know that I've worked very hard for the last 32 years to help American Muslims to regain their proper place in civil society. This has been my lifelong work. First of all, let us be very clear that we are very simple Muslims. We believe in one Almighty Creator, and we follow unadulterated Islam, and that we believe in one Almighty Creator, the way Abraham, Jacob, David, Solomon, Jesus, and Mary, and the last Messenger Muhammad, with all say no God but one God. We do give respect to the companion who accept that because of the code of Islam, there are different schools of thought, such as Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, and Hanbali. We accept those. We are basically Sufis. And a Sufi doctrine is the spirit of Islam. There is no such thing as Sufism. There is no such thing as Sufism in a different religion. Sufi doctrine is the spirit of Islam. It is based on Tawheed, Tawakkul, and Taqwa. At the same time, at the beginning, I would like to thank President Barack Obama of the United States, who took very keen interest when he was shown picture of school children whom Robert wanted to kill in Michigan. He said at that time that it is right of every American who practice their religion without any restriction and full freedom. First of all, this is the base. America is the base. We have to make clear picture of that, how we can operate. I'll tell you what, I've been here for the last 32 years. Never I was bothered by the government agency. Nobody ever gave me trouble. And America is actually, it is an Islam-friendly country because Sharia exists here in the shape of support they give to the children, to the poor, to the aging, the unemployed, all the social services. That is what Sharia is. If this aspect of Islam is neglected, then there is no Islam. Look after social welfare of people is one of the fundamental pillars of Islam, but you find that in America this is done. Whereas in Pakistan, where I am now, and I'm living like an actual refugee, there was no such thing that people are dying of starvation, committing suicide. There is no help in any way, either in education nor in health. There is no relief for the sick, aged, or children in Pakistan. Islam is dying. Secularism is taking place, but in America, Islam is right. Regarding the Muslims in America, thousands and thousands of African Muslims, I found they were living like children in the ghettos, in Alabama Avenue and Philadelphia. They were kept there and they were fed with bogus Islam. The people living in Al-Azharia, they are the Muslims, and they are this. But most of these people later on realized this is not Islam. So they started making dua. Ya Allah, send us some guide. Send us some guide to how you help us out of this decision because we want to follow real Islam. At that time, I was in Himalayas, high up in Himalayas. And I was sent to America as a guide and as an imam. And then when I was sent to the most powerful miracles, in which Allah granted me His shining, nuri name of Muhammad Sallallahu and rainbows. You can see now, this is what I'm given. You see the name of Allah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It is shining for the last 5 years, even up till today, in our holy shrine and masjid in Islam. That should also convince you that my mission is divine. This is a divinely supported mission. All those who people follow me, they are prosperous. Their children are fourth generation guys. Now their children are doctors, engineers, businessmen, and they're very well off. People saw rainbows and died in the whole world. I did. I told people, leave ghettos. I had some money, I bought land in Islamabad to move some family here. And then I took a 4,000 mile long hijrah and took a lot of things with me and ended up at Los Angeles in Greenleaf. There we lived. We hardly had any money. I lived in Irish bush. Sometimes we had no food. We boiled leaves. Believe me, but I stood with them. Had I been a ritual sheikh who come to America and England with a bags on the shoulder, collect zakah and charity and go back. No, I lived with them. So we got 4,000 miles at home and we lived. Then our people started getting day-to-day jobs and that helped. Eventually we established our village here and more, and eventually were able to have 25% villages spread all over the United States, which are the targets. In this all Islamophobia, the worst character which was played and is being played by the Fox News, they play a very conspiratorial role in spreading Islamophobia. What they did, they brought one person, introduced him, gave him full backup. This is the man, he has worked for CIA for 25 years. He's expert on terror, name Wayne Simmons. Of course, he's in jail now. And for the last 8 years, that man churned line after line, accusation after accusation, calling all over all Muslim villages and a compound where the training, military training, guerrilla training was being given to the Muslims to take over the United States of America. Why should people tell me they have no complaint with America? America is the old home. Why should they do it? But nevertheless, this wild propaganda inspired Doggart, who planned to attack Islamabad, and also Martin Marr wrote a book. Martin Marr wrote a book, 300-400 pages long, from beginning to end, all lies and accusations. To such an extent he writes that my thoughts go to woods. Why they move to the woods? Because at night I appear in the shape of wolves and talk to them. Just imagine. However, because of this dirty role of Fox News, we became under attack. Attack after attack was launched against revolutions. In Virginia it came, Martin Marr's men came, they attacked me, and they shot, kept shooting till people hit somewhere, and then, what? They go to police, no action. In Islamabad, people go in and shoot people, but they're safe. So what happened? They go to police, they say this was, disruptive behavior, and then you go home. A Dogger who planned, who was caught with a document that he had made all the plan along with the 10th division, and with the basis of, militia, to destroy Islamabad and kill children and residents and destroy the masjid with Al-Azharia. It was all documented by FBI. What happened? What did they do it? They put him on house arrest. Where he is, having all the things to do for him. we never wavered. We never wavered. We stood firm like a rock. We feared nobody. And we have to be firm, strong, finding a way to solve this problem ourselves. So this is what brings us here today. This is what brings us here today. I found the solution to solve the Islamophobia problem is that people from all over the world must get together and form an international united organization and solve the problem, because OIC is in vested interest. It is against Muslims. Whereas the United Nations is an arm of Zionists to divide Islamic countries. Can you imagine? They sent, terror in the Amatul-Wadud of Indonesia, and then within hours, the United Nations army landed there and separated the island. This is the role of the United Nations. Therefore, the time has come for all the Muslims all over the world, particularly the teachers, professionals, students, professors, students, businessmen, to come forward and form a global setup on the pattern of United Nations to permanently protect Muslims and to fight Islamophobia. This organization must protect the rights of Muslims all over the world. Last but not least, I declare Islam does not allow indiscriminate killing of human beings, be they Muslim or non-Muslim. Islam forbids suicide bombing and destruction of the holy shrine and holy relics. And I put before you my experience in the last 32 years, how to accept the challenge so that it might help you take further decisions in the light of experience. There are certain horrible facts that I must bring to your notice in this conference. That is how Islamophobia was orchestrated and propagated. It started with 9/11. Islamophobia started with 9/11. As you know, those when aeroplane struck the main tower, the building number 7, no aeroplane touched it. It collapsed on its foundation. Our next day, and on that day, 4,000 Jews who worked in that were absent. On the Jersey City side, there were 5 to 6 Israelis who were waiting with cameras, waiting for the aeroplane to crash into the main building. And they did take pictures, and they all made so happy and showed all concern till the police happy arrested them. With this, many Muslims died in that World Trade Center. People knew about it. It was an insider's job. If you happen to see a clip in which George Bush is shown in a children's school, and somebody comes and tells him here what had happened, he hardly paid any attention. It's a George Bush who, without investigating who did the job. No, they did not. They just assumed must be Muslims. Who did Muslims stop in 45 minutes? No, right? Would Muslims destroy that building number 7? What did they do? No, he immediately said, this is a crusade that started against Muslims. And this, he went so far saying, he told many countries, with the force of organization, either you are with us or against us. And he forced the countries. So with that, he was able to infiltrate, send told you, I mentioned that, right? That gave rise to what we call American Taliban. We were all influenced by Fox, who were all influenced by Fox News. People like Robert and Martin. Maya, who knew nothing about Christianity nor Islam. For example, the person who tried to burn Holy Quran was a simple waiter in a restaurant. He became minister and started pleading for fund. I'm going to burn Holy Quran, give me money. Well, from that, waiter, he became a reverend, and within a very short time, he became a millionaire. And then he demanded another money to protect him. Similarly, with Martin Meyer, he has a very big setup just to spread Islamophobia. He gets millions and millions of dollars overall. One can go in his account, we do have, access to his expenditure and income. So this is what I say, Islamophobia has nothing to do with religion. It has got nothing to do with Islam. These riffraff, the gutter snipes, that socially reject drug addicts, they use it as a means to make money. That is this. You must understand. We have done the best to rebut the lies and false accusations. But that does not make any difference because it is something else. And that's why we found that all the Muslims all over the world must come together and find a solution to that. That's why we are here. With Allah's help, we will find a permanent solution. Allah will us, He protects believers. That is promised in the Quran. While in Los Angeles, we're struggling to survive, I was shocked to find out there are some gurus. Look, it's only, there is no hate. Look at this. Huh? Look at this. I was shocked to find there were gurus. And one guru had 8,000 acres of land, and he had turned it into a corporation, and they had their own police. I could never think of making good money or misleading people like him. One guru had, and he had most of the wealthy American Jews who go there. There he would tell them how to arrive at an ultimate union, and that would be made possible to give them prostitutes from India and hashish. He had 16 road riders. Each finger had diamond. There were many gurus in America earning millions and millions of dollars. Nobody talks about them. There is no Hinduphobia. There is no Hinduphobia. Whereas people do not know. They worship human reproductive organ, snake, monkeys. They worship cow and drink urine every morning. And when they die, their wives have to be burned along with them. Why do people get out of their way to try and burn Holy Quran and Islam? The idea is no one ever thought of attacking that area or practiced any hatred towards them. My thought was that I didn't want to cheat Americans, but anyway, I showed them the right. Path and that I have to pay a very heavy price for. But I succeeded with Allah's help. Perhaps Christians do not know that Holy Quran is the only witness that declared Jesus of Mary was the prophet of God and he existed. And his mother was a virtuous virgin, confirming that he had already given a book which had law, not love. Indeed, Jesus is alive, and he will come down sooner or later, and then he will solve the problem. Are the Muslims being punished for supporting Christianity, Holy Quran says, those people who are closer to you are the people who follow Jesus on the way. Yet there was Islamophobia when these who believed in Jesus and the very practiced his teaching. They believed in one Almighty. There was Islamophobia. I take back 1,000 years. There was one Jewish king, Zulawaz, who dug ditches full of fire, and all those Muslims who were followers of Jesus would believe in him, he would throw them. Burn them alive. He burned 20,000 innocent people who believed in one Almighty. Astaghfirullah. Right? This is what happened. What happened? The Ethiopian king, Najashi, who eventually became Muslim, his Al-Azharia was performed for the Prophet in absentia. He sent army to Yemen and destroyed it. Destroyed his country and everything because Zulawaz was in Yemen. Moreover, you should know more facts before you take any further steps. This is a reference, knowledge for you. First of all, Islamophobia is part of white supremacy. It is part of white supremacy, which is very powerful. The anti-American government called as the militia, the KKK, and the Skull and Bone Society. On one hand, they persecute Afro-American Christians. On the other hand, they launched Islamophobia, which was a result of 9/11. It's no more secret than 9/11 was a job of insider, so much so, I told you that it was insider job. As I said, I'm going to take back 1,000 years for Zulawaz. This incident, which I mentioned to you, of burning believers in a ditch, that started by the Jews and Islamophobia. And Holy Quran mentioned it. And there were eyewitness accounts by eyewitnesses that still exist. The story of Philby wrote it, that many people still know the place where the utensils were dug. In Holy Quran, it very clearly states in Surah Al-Buruj that a stellar formation. I swear by the skies containing stars, standing in formation, and by the promised day, and by witness and what it witnessed. And by witness and what it witnessed, cursed were the people of trench, containing a fire rich with fuel, where they were sitting by it, and was watching what they were doing to the believers, and they resented and blamed them for nothing, but that they believed Allah Almighty. This was their, and they gave all praise to the one whom belongs the kingdom of heaven and earth. Whereas Holy Quran is witness to this incident, you find they were writing still available, still existing from the 6th century of Christian era, which mention in detail what actually happened. Some were written by the eyewitness account, others compiled by the witnesses from Yemen. There are 3 books about them by Procopius, Johannes, and Malala. They were brothers was there. One present day, one contemporary historian, Philby, has written about this incident in his history, and he says that people in Najran, Yemen, still know the place where the incident took place. Who did that? Who burned more than 20,000 foreigners under Mary? The believer, true believer, who believed in one Almighty Creator? The king of Yemen, Yusuf Nawaz, burned them alive, burned in fire. This is what happened in 528 after Christian era. This is what happened. And this is to establish one fact, that Zionists, they are the inventor of burning innocent people. I ask you one question. Have they stopped burning people? No. Look, when this falsely, this false news, despite the fact that there was no weapon mass destruction in Iraq, they kept on pushing and telling that they are buried somewhere. And they pushed America into war to fight their proxy war. Because Israel was afraid of Iraq. Saddam said, Iraqi, he don't have any animosity with America, nor Saddam Hussein. So, well, unfortunately, the army was defeated. The Iraqi army was defeated. And they surrendered. After surrendering, 500,000 soldiers were retreating and running back to Baghdad. These Zionists, they bombed them with firebombs, with canisters of firearms, and burned them alive. This is all we do. As regards the Jews, we are waiting for Jesus of Mary to come down. He will deal with them. And once again, he will rejoin Islam and Christianity. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Jazakallah khair, Your Eminence, for your endless pearls of enlightenment. We again welcome Honorable Khalid Hussein Adams, Chief Executive of the Muslims of America and Deputy Director of the International Quranic Open University. Mr. Adams has led national and international humanitarian relief efforts to aid victims of national disasters in the United States and around the globe. Additionally, he has been honored with the Ambassador of Peace Award from the Universal Peace Foundation. Honorable Khalid Hussein Adams.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا مولانا محمد وصحابه سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Greetings, good morning to all. I thank you for coming. We are gathered here today on behalf of this International Islamophobia Conference to take continuous steps to stop the genocide of Muslims all over the world. In countries such as China, Kashmir, Burma, Yemen, to name a few, Muslims are struggling to gain freedom from oppression under the rule of communism. In northern China, a large number of the Uyghur Muslims are not allowed to practice their deen, so much so that they were not even permitted to hold their annual fast in the blessed month of Ramadan. As a result, they rose up and war of freedom started. But in response, the Chinese government is massacring them. In Kashmir, a cause of freedom was pursued in 1947 through a UN resolution to allow holding a plebiscite for self-determination, allowing the Kashmiri people to determine their own future. Seeing that the United Nations was not fulfilling its promise, 95% of the people rose up. They rose up against those who were oppressing them. Since then, over 300,000 Kashmiris have been murdered and many atrocities committed against them. Bones of dead Kashmiris have been found in mass graves, and women and girls have been gang raped. The President of India, who was personally responsible for the riots that took place in Gujarat, where thousands of Muslims were killed, thousands of Muslims were burned alive. In some instances, even Holy Quran, the pages were torn, ripped, and they were thrown to the ground. In another part of the world, the Rohingya Muslims, the Burmese in Burma, they too have been suffering. Their villages have been destroyed. Innocent human life have been taken, and many have been burned alive. Homes have been torched. But why? For what crime? For what crime did they commit? Muslims in Yemen are being bombed indiscreetly by Saudi Arabia and their partners. Innocent women and children burning in hospitals by people that make that claim to be Muslim. The violence committed by such groups as Al-Qaeda and the now well-known ISIS that continue to take the lives of innocent people. Today I implore my fellow countrymen and the world, we make a declaration that Al-Qaeda and that ISIS is not Islam, is not Islamic. They are an anti-Islamic movement. And in fact, they're one and the same. They have destroyed many holy shrines. Many holy shrines of the blessed saints, the awliya, and those blessed family descendants of Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Walis of Allah, they've destroyed. And what do they say? This is bid'ah. This is innovation. If you send praise on the reason for creation, Allah Ta'ala says, Sayyidina Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a mercy to all of mankind, to all of creation, to Muslims, to Christians, to Jews, to all. This is because for Al-Qaeda and those like them, anyone who is non-Wahhabi, as Muslims, they declare them as heretics. And they also declare that they should be condemned to death. Our campaign against the oppression and slaughtering of Muslims, we are here to expose, to shed light on those who have shown their ugly faces those who continue to kill the innocent men, women, and children indiscriminately because they do not represent the face of Islam. Islam is a religion of peace. Islam is not a terrorist religion. Dating back all the way to Hazrat Isa bin Maryam alayhi salam, Jesus son of Mary. The Romans of that time too called him a terrorist. He was labeled as a terrorist. So for us, it's nothing new for Muslims to be called terrorists, to be branded as terrorists. Islam is under attack. Muslims have been constantly, this ISIS, this created organization was brought about to tarnish, to attack, to destroy the good name of Al-Islam, and to bring about a bad name for Muslims. And by Allah Ta'ala's, God Almighty's mercy and permission and grace, He's exposing that. He needs none to expose. He stands with those who are standing for righteousness, for good, and for truth. I thank you again for joining us today. I look forward to what the future holds for us as we commit to coming together. The key is coming together as one voice against all of these human rights, all of these atrocities that are taking place all around the world. Therefore, we will conclude, but we will let it be known that we will work hard and harder. We will continue to establish these international Islamic organizations similar to the United Nations. We need your help. We need your assistance. We need your participation. They will uphold human rights by assuring these religious freedoms and justice for Muslims all over the world. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Shukran, Honorable Khalid Hussein. We have here today a group of delegates representing various countries who will each share a few words with us. The inaugural International Islamophobia Conference hereby recognizes the following countries: Canada, the United States of America, Bangladesh, Egypt, Taiwan, Senegal, Pakistan, and India. I would like to introduce His Eminence Sayyid Mudassir Shah Al-Gillani Al-Hashmi Al-Hassani Wal-Husseini, who is representing Canada.
I am honored to be here representing the country of Canada. The new administration has guaranteed religious freedoms to Muslims in particular. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently stated, "We know in our bones that Canada was built by people from all corners of the world, who worship every faith, who belong to every culture, who speak every language." In general, Canada has a long history of being more liberal towards Muslims and other minorities. I was shocked at the depths of brutality and basic injustice of slavery. But I am proud to say that Canadians in the past have helped countless African Americans escape from slavery. Hundreds and thousands of Africans were taken from their countries and brought to the shores of America, where they were enslaved and stripped of their rights. During the mid-1800s, over 40,000 African American slaves were smuggled into Canada to escape the miseries of slavery. They sought freedom in a new land that promised liberty and equality for all. These escaped slaves followed secret routes which led them to safe houses guarded by humanitarians, which in all composed the Underground Railroad. Those Canadians that participated in the Underground Railroads were fearless against those who sought to oppress innocent lives. I am proud to represent a country where there is this history of not only tolerance towards minorities, but real respect and assistance. Currently, there is a 3.2% Muslim population in Canada. But with the rise of Islamophobia throughout the world, it is critical that humanitarians work within their countries to ensure that Muslims don't become victims. It is my hope that today we are taking steps towards an international solution to stop the oppressions of Muslims around the world. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, Your Eminence. I would like to introduce Muhammad Matthew Gardner, representing the United States of America.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm honored to be chosen as a delegate to represent the United States of America, as I've been an American Muslim for nearly 30 years. I'm also a United States Air Force veteran, and I'd just like to mention that during my time in the United States Air Force, I think one of the first things that ever happened that really started my thoughts about Islam and Islamophobia was the invasion of Libya. I was a member, and I was not happy with what I was hearing about what happened and how the Americans were so happy and proud that this had been done. And all I could think about was the family of the man that was killed. We have a unique experience in America. We have freedom of religion. Many countries in the world don't have this. We also have compliance with Islamic Sharia in America by our own Constitution. Since 9/11, or really since the World Trade Center bombing in the 90s, I've witnessed a crescendo or an escalation over the years. The demonization of Muslims, the marginalization of Muslims all over the world, from the shores of the United States of America all the way to the Far East and all in between. Now the violence is beginning in the United States of America. I live in Virginia. We have a village of the Muslims of America in Virginia, and we proudly display a sign which says that. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the Muslims of America, that's who we are. And we had that sign shot at. Well, we found 13 holes in the sign one night. We were all sleeping. There's quite a few families on this land. And when we heard the firing, we had no idea what was going on. We didn't think someone was doing target practice at 11:30 at night. But what happened woke us up. Since then, there's been much more that has happened in our area. There's been the growing Islamophobic nature and arguments, especially on the internet, but mostly on Fox News. But we also see it on in the other media reports that come in. The assumption of all Muslims being involved in something. And then they turn the camera on to America and its Muslims, and wanting to prevent what they see going on in the world. And that turns the camera to us. It turns the thoughts to us. It turns the fear to us. So we begin an uphill march towards that. And we will not stop. We will not stop in our confirmation that we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God Almighty, is on our side. Why? Because we believe in Him. We pray to Him 5 times a day. We raise our families in good ways, away from decadence, away from harm that can be caused just by simply going to school. We raise them in a fashion that makes us proud of who we are. In North Carolina, 3 such people were murdered execution style. We know them as the 3 martyrs. And they were killed by, of all things, an atheist. And then there's Holy Islamburg in America, 2 hours from here, and a man named Robert Doggart. And the plan that he had, and the detail that he went into for his plan. Our job in the United States of America as American Muslims should be to reach an understanding between all faiths. And what is between all of us should be love. Because that love, at least from those who have faith, verifies that mankind is the family of God. Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. We next call Aidid Ali from Bangladesh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It is an absolute honor being chosen as the delegate to represent Bangladesh. And as we already know, all around the world, the rights of human beings are stripped and deprived. And we would think that as time progresses, we would live in a world that's completely tolerant and completely open-minded. But sadly, that is not the world that we live in. On a daily basis, people are being hurt, tortured, and even killed just for what they believe in. And it is absolutely mortifying how just being affiliated with a certain faith can have such a negative connotation. Apparently, Islam is an extreme faith, and how is that? Why is it that in our history there are many occasions where people of other faiths have done heinous acts, and they were associated with a certain religion, but we don't look at it as if they were terrorists. We look at it as if they made a bad decision. Why should our whole faith be targeted for something that a few bad people do? And I don't want to even say that a few bad Muslims do, because if you have the power of killing somebody, you are not Muslim to me. I don't believe that you are Muslim, because in our faith, we do not kill people. We believe in peace. And Islamophobia is a plague that is rampant in today's society, and I would say that the main reason that it is spreading across the world is because of our media and how they portray Muslims. And the rights of Muslims are constantly being infringed upon, and I'm willing to do anything to preserve these rights. In Bangladesh, there hasn't really been that many occasions where a religious group was targeted, and there is freedom of religion there, but honestly, and all throughout Bangladesh, everyone is Muslim, and here and there you'll find Hindus and like a certain amount of Christians, but everyone gets along, and there isn't that many examples there. But in my own life, I could share many examples that I have witnessed, and some ways that our rights are being infringed upon is all the hate crimes that have occurred in the past decade, or even beyond that. For instance, I read an article where a man was pushed into the train tracks because one guy thought that he was a Muslim, and so he just thought he shouldn't be alive. And then we later found out that this guy who died wasn't even Muslim; he was a Hindu. But people obviously don't know that, and other religious groups are being targeted because of the hatred some people have for Muslims. For instance, Sikhs are being attacked, their temples are being bombed, their people are being shot at just because they wear a turban and a dress that looks like ours. People think that they are Muslim, and so they don't want to live. So how is it that what these terrorists are doing makes it okay for us to do the exact same thing back to them? And I remember in high school, I had a friend who would never bring me home. He was Hindu. He wouldn't bring me home just because his parents wouldn't approve of me because I'm a Muslim. And he would always tell me that his parents have a lot against Muslims. So we could be friends, but I can't come to his house. That's Islamophobia right there, where I can't be your friend just because of the views that you have with me and my people. And I remember one time, well, in my masjid, every Friday we used to help the homeless, and we just go and provide food for them. And I remember one guy came up to me, and we gave him one whole pie of pizza, and he said, "Why did you give me one whole pie of pizza and not one slice?" And I told him that I'm Muslim, and it's my right, and it's my duty, it's my obligation to help you. It's my obligation to give you a generous amount. And he said, "Wow," and I thought you people were bad. That's what he responded to me. And that's what the media does to us. It spreads this negative view of Islam when really we are a religion of peace. And just because we are being targeted doesn't mean we have to target other people. We don't have to attack other people as well. We need to show them that we are tolerant, that we care about them, and that we'll do anything to fight for their religion as well. Because Allah says in the Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنأن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. Allah says, "O you who believe, be upright for Allah, bearers of witness with justice, and let not hatred of a people incite you not to act equitably. Act equitably, that is nearer to piety, and be careful of your duty to Allah. Surely Allah is aware of what you do." And right in this verse we can see that just because someone doesn't treat you right doesn't mean you don't treat them right as well. You show them that our religion is about love, it's about peace. And I'm going to end with a quote that Martin Luther King said. He said, "Darkness cannot drive away darkness, only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive away hate, only love can do that." So let's be people who believe in this, and let's spread this to others and show that Islam is a religion of peace, it's a religion of love, and we love all of mankind, and we're tolerant to all of mankind. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali, for your accounts and your beautiful recitation. We next call Al-Azharia Abdul-Salam Al-Azharia, representing Egypt.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله أنا موجودة هنا لكي أتكلم معكم في حق مصر، وأنا أعتقد وأقوم بكل حقوق الإنسان في جميع أنحاء العالم، ليس للمسلمين فقط، للمسيحيين، لليهوديين، لكل الإنسان على هذا العالم، لأن الله تعالى هو خالق كلنا، الله تعالى هو خالقنا وهو رازقنا وكلنا عباد له. فأنا أقوم وأعتقد لحقوق الإنسان للإنسان فقط، وخاصة بالمسلمين في بلدي مصر وأيضا في أمريكا وفي كل بلاد. في بعض البلاد الآن لا يمكن المسلمين أن يعيشوا حياة عادية، لا يمكنهم أن يقرأوا القرآن ويصلي الصلاة ويفعلوا الأشياء. مثلا في الإسلام هذا شيء، هذا حق المسلم أو أي شخص في الدين. مثلا المسيحيين هم يفعلون كمسيحيين ولا يوجد مشكلة في هذا، لكن للمسلمين لا يوجد حرية الدين في العالم، لا يوجد حرية الدين لنا فقط. للمسيح يمكنهم أن يعبدوا كما يعبدون، هذا ليس عليهم أي وزر في هذا. لكن للمسلمون هذا المشكلة مشكلة كبيرة. والإسلاموفوبيا بدأ من أقدم الأزمان، من بداية الإسلام عندما بدأ الوحي للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بدأ الإسلاموفوبيا. الناس هم يخوفون الناس ويراهبون الناس عن الإسلام. لماذا؟ ليصدوا الناس من دين الإسلام. هذا كان هدفهم وغايتهم. والآن عندنا النتيجة هذه العمل هو القتل، وهو كل هذه الجرائم في العالم الآن ضد المسلمين. وأنا أقوم وأقول لابد أن نحن نجتمع ونجد الحل لهذه المشكلات. لابد أن نقوم ونقول خلاص انتهى هذه الجرائم والانتهاك حقوق الإسلام وحقوق المسلمين. نحن نقوم لحقوق الإنسان جميعا. شكرا.
Subhanallah, al-Masahiba. Your words are heartfelt. I would like to introduce Tiffany Bowers, representing Taiwan.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning to you all. It is an honor and a pleasure to have been elected as a delegate representing my mother's country of Taiwan. Like all of you, my heart is heavy this morning with the news of Paris, the tragic loss of innocent lives. Sadly, these types of horrific events only fuel the very Islamophobia that we are here today to stand against. As President Obama said last night, this is an attack not just on Paris, it's an attack not just on the people of France, but this is an attack on all of humanity and the universal values that we share. The actions of the extremists will never represent Islam, and they will never speak for true Muslims. I've heard stories of both bigotry and racism, both from my father, who is an African-American male, born and raised in North Carolina, as well as my mother, who immigrated from Taiwan at the age of 18 while speaking no English at all. To my dismay, I am now witnessing and personally experiencing similar sentiments of bigotry towards Muslim all over the United States. In 2015, we should consider this unacceptable. We should be mindful of history repeating itself, whereby an entire group of people are demonized and dehumanized. In February of this year, I woke to the news of the tragic loss of 3 beautiful souls. We've come to know them as the martyrs of Chapel Hill, and in other terms, our 3 winners. The news of that brutal massacre not only hit close to home, it was home, as I walked the same halls of those 3 students and walked the same path as a student at NC State University for my undergraduate degree. Dia, Yusuf, and Razan will always be in our hearts. I sat in the same classrooms as them. I spoke to the same professors. I can't believe such a tragic event happened at my university. It is my desire that events like this will continue to raise the awareness of the fact that the rising tide of Islamophobia knows no boundaries. It is indifferent to skin color and nationality. Let us join hands, fellow citizens, in condemning both extremism in the name of Islam, as well as hatred towards Islam and Muslims. Now more than ever, our courage and our resolve will be tested. My brother proudly serves this nation as a member of the United States Navy. We remain thankful for the freedoms and liberties that we are afforded here in America, while bearing in mind that we must be diligent to ensure that the constitutional rights of all Americans remain protected. May God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you for your impactful words, Ms. Bowers. Next, we will hear from Binta Diop, representing Senegal.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I greet all of you, greetings of peace and blessings from Senegal. My name is Binta Diop and I represent the Senegalese nation of West Africa. I apologize because my voice is a little rusty. I'm not feeling very well, but given the importance of this annual conference, I found no excuse that is necessary for me not to sit here today. First of all, I would like to thank the community of Islamville and the Muslims of America for showing me that no matter where I am in this world, I can always visualize my religion. And if it wasn't for your community, probably I would live in the United States until I go back to Africa, feeling like a fish that has been taken from water. So if I'm able to enjoy my Islam, I owe it to your community. I am a Sufi Muslim and I'm proud to declare it wherever I go. And to come to the United States, to be able to see that I can pray, I can join hands with Americans, the same way I would do back home is priceless to me. As a Senegalese woman, I came to the United States back in 2001 because of Islamophobia. I had to remove my scarf and walk across the border to come to the United States. Once I get back to the United States, I realized that Allah was greater than anything. That for me to be whole as a woman, I had to have my scarf back on. Therefore, I put my scarf back on. It's important to mention that as an African woman, because I'm not the only one. I've seen various African women that did just the same because they were afraid to be judged. Because they are African women that see so many opportunities coming to the United States, but because America is not ready to accept them as Muslims, they choose to do just that. Remove their scarf so they can blend in, as they call it. So I'm forever thankful that something like this could give us a platform for us to explain why we don't have to go through that. Today I would like to share a little word for my French community. In Senegal, we are a French colony. In this century that we're living nowadays with the world of globalization, it's very hard to discern where the French Senegalese stops and when the Senegalese, the African Senegalese stops. We are one family. A large part of my family is now living in Amatul-Wadud, in France. So I would just like to take this opportunity to pray for my French family, pour leur dire que nous vous soutenons, qu'on est avec vous, et qu'on pense à vous en ces moments de tristesse. Nous aimons la France et les musulmans sont derrière la France. It's just to say that we stand with friends and Muslims stand for justice. Right now in Africa, over 6,000 people have died in Central Africa because of Muslim cleansings that are going on. Muslims are dying because nobody understands us. So in the name of all African nations that I represent here today, not only Senegal, I would like to thank you for this opportunity and hope that we will do it every year, because the issues that are keeping people from benefiting from the Muslim world cannot be defeated within one day. So I would like to end as the word of my Sheikh, Sheikh Ahmad Bamba, would say, do not let my race, my color, or my religion keep you from benefiting the beautiful blessings that we have in the Muslim world. It starts from today, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Ms. Diop, we appreciate your presence here. Your words penetrate our hearts. I would next like to introduce Mr. Haqq-Clark, representing Pakistan.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Thank you very much, Muslims of America, for inviting me here and for your hospitality and putting this first annual Islamophobia conference together. I think it's very important, it's very necessary, and the passionate words of Sister Diop were very moving for me. I was born in Karachi, Pakistan. I came to the United States when I was 10 in the late 80s. What I recall as a child, when my parents applied for a visa and came here, there was a lot of chaos in Karachi, or my school was often closed because of bombing threats and whatnot, and they were just really fed up, so they wanted to move to the United States for better opportunities for myself and my brothers. I have been here since 1988, and I am a proud American. I served in the United States Marines. I was actually one of the first Marines to enter Iraq during Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. I'm very proud of my service. And, you know, as a Muslim, myself, I'm active in different things. I'm a teacher. I teach 8th graders. That's probably much tougher than being a Marine. Well, not really, but it's almost as tough. So I'm really, you know, we're in a dilemma. I think we're fighting a two-front. You know, I see things as a military guy. I think we're fighting on two fronts. Yes, we're battling Islamophobia that we face, you know, in our lives, but we also have to self-reflect, and I think we have a lot of issues within our big Muslim ummah at large. I'll be honest with you, I think there are more issues in Muslim countries and where Muslims are being persecuted and being killed and being discriminated against than there are in the Western world and in the United States. Pakistan for being one. Right now there is a big issue with the media. There is, in the constitution for Pakistan, there is a freedom of press. However, a lot of the press folks are being kidnapped, being killed if they speak out against a political party, or if they write a piece and that a political party might not agree with, or the military might not agree with, or the intelligence community might not agree with, and that's a problem. Also, there's a long history of Muslims killing Muslims, Shias and Sunnis fighting each other. The Shia minority in Pakistan is often attacked, the mosques are often attacked, and we have to self-reflect and recognize that there's, that's one front that we're fighting, and also the Islamophobia front that we're fighting. A lot of the Muslims, I believe, and I will tell you, and I'll disagree with a few folks who might think that September 11th attacks were like somehow an inside job. They were not. They were done by evil Muslims, whether you think they're Muslims or not. Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, in my opinion, they're evil. Yes, they're Muslims, and it's a cancer in our community that we have to get rid of, and we have to work hard at it. And unfortunately, what happened yesterday was very depressing. As my wife was driving me to the airport, we were discussing what was happening in Paris, and it was very, very depressing. Anytime, I'll be honest with you, anytime there's an attack, whether there's a shooting in the United States, I pray for two things. One, I say that, God, please, take care of the families of victims, and I pray for the victims. But the second thing, I'll be honest with you, I pray that I hope to God that it's not Muslim. Because, whenever we see these attacks, like in Paris or September 11th, they've done a lot of damage to our community. They've done a lot of damage to our American community at large. They've done a lot of damage to our Muslim community at large as well. And I know this conference will be getting into a lot of topics and so forth, and we have to self-reflect as Americans, but also as Muslims, on how to battle these, how to communicate with Muslims and non-Muslims, with the media, how to communicate our thoughts, how to really battle these things. As a teacher, I will tell you, I have discussions. I teach in a very diverse school. It's a majority-minority district where I teach. There's a lot of African Americans, Latino, Hispanic Americans, and a lot of Muslim Americans. I have conversations with teenagers who see all kinds of information through social media, on YouTube. They see a lot of misinformation. And we discuss that in our masjid and stuff. We have these conversations that we discuss that. And I'm telling you, kids have to be guided because they get a lot of misinformation that they hear on YouTube and whatnot. And they're impressionable. And they have to see the truth. And I truly believe that we live in a nation that's great, that has to lead from the front. We cannot lead from the back. We have to lead from the front as Americans, as Muslims. And we have to battle on those fronts very aggressively. Whenever there are terrorist attacks, we have to stand up against them, which we do. A lot of Muslims do, and I know we get criticized for saying that, hey, how come we're not speaking out? We do speak out, but we have to let the world know that, hey, we're speaking out. And we have to also be proactive and, work with our youth to make sure that, hey, that misinformation is not affecting their minds. And we have to, discuss this openly with everyone, that, hey, there is an issue with hate, that there are evil folks who might call themselves Muslims, but they're still evil, and that's not the right way of Islam, and they're going to try to influence you through whatever they're saying is inaccurate, it's wrong, it's not what Islam teaches and preaches, and we have to fight that, we have to battle that. Also, talking about Islamophobia, I have seen a rise of where I live, of different types of things with Muslims, as the Muslim population is growing. I live in Manassas, Virginia. There are issues, and there are a small fraction of folks who really are xenophobic, who do not like Hispanic Americans, they might not like African Americans, they might not like Muslim Americans. We're very vocal, and we have to utilize whatever resources we have to also communicate with them that, hey, that's inaccurate. So we're fighting those two fronts, and I'm hopeful that, as we start this first annual Islamophobia conference, that other folks, other Muslim communities throughout the United States will look at this and say, hey, we need to come together, use this as a model to openly communicate and discuss the issues we face. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your views, Mr. Carney. We now would like to hear from Imran Siddiqui, representing India.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Thank you for having me here at this conference. Islamophobia is my thing that I talk about, that I'm sort of an expert in. So conferences like this are definitely much needed. It's extremely unfortunate that we're having to do this up against the backdrop of what happened yesterday in France and what happened the day before in Lebanon. So let's say a quick prayer for them, and may Allah protect the victims of these vicious attacks. May Allah heal those who survived and who were wounded, and may Allah bring them to justice, inshallah. So I'm here to talk about India. Now, I was born in Alabama, but I am of Indian descent, so I can talk a little bit about what the backdrop is over there, because I have a unique perspective. I've been to India a few times, and I can sort of view it as an insider-outsider type deal versus my parents, who were born and raised over here and then migrated over into the U.S. Now, there's different types of Islamophobia, so it's not just going to be some guy who's coming to, attack a community with a militia, or it's not going to be billboards that are strewn across the interstate, or subway ads, or people talking negatively about us in the media. It can be a lot of different things. It can be above the surface, or it can be beneath the surface. Now, India, for example, is a key area where a lot of the anti-Muslim rhetoric is beneath the surface, or it's sort of there's little waves that are going through without you really noticing it. And then there's a lot of overt racism and Islamophobia that permeates that society as well. Most recently, you've seen an uptick in Islamophobia stemming from the new government that was elected over there. So this could be viewed as Islamophobia essentially going mainstream because Narendra Modi's party was elected to lead India's government. He's the new prime minister. Now, he is most famous for being one of the heads of the state of Gujarat during the time of the sectarian violence that took place in the 90s. So there was a mosque that was destroyed, the Babri Masjid that was destroyed in 1992. Communal rioting took place over there. Thousands of people died in that, mostly Muslims. So this is a very dangerous situation when you get into countries like this. We can talk about this across the board, whether it's in India, whether it's in Burma, whether it's in different countries across the world where sectarianism is a disease that plagues all countries. And when you get into areas where, alhamdulillah, thankfully we live here and we have access to correct information a lot of the times, you just have to look for it. But back there's the mob mentality, and you look at what happened in India in the 90s, the mob mentality really took root, and Muslims were also partially to blame for what happened there. So Muslims are not necessarily free of blame when it comes to these things. Muslims have our own share of issues, as Brother Atif said before, but there was a very sick level of sectarianism that took root, and there is something called the Hindu nationalist movement that has really taken root within the last 20-25 years. But now, they were in pockets in India during that time frame, in the early 90s and so on and so forth, but now they've gone national and they've sort of gone mainstream. And the thing is that somebody like Modi, he was banned from traveling to the US until a few years back, until he was elected prime minister. So now, whatever sort of war crimes or, incitement of riots that took place before has been tucked underneath the surface, and his history has basically been forgotten. Unfortunately, that's a function of things that are happening with Western governments allowing that to take shape as well. You have to have diplomatic relations, but that's unfortunate that he's sort of become mainstream again. But you're seeing an uptick in anti-Muslim violence that's taking place over there with cow, people are saying that Muslims have eaten beef or something along those lines. You've seen, within the last 4 or 5 weeks, you've seen 3 different mob attacks that are taking place where Muslims have actually been beaten to death over, allegations of eating beef. That's really an unfortunate situation. But this could happen. This is happening in Burma as well with the Rohingya population, just that mob mentality that goes out there. So this is just the same way that we talk about the Robert Doggett situation. This is the output of Islamophobia. All of this that's hammered into your head over time, and then this, these types of mob mentalities sort of take place. And the thing is that it's not just overt, like I said, with Bollywood. So just seeing how Muslims are... Bollywood is the Muslim film industry, for those who don't know. So its actual reach is much more than even Hollywood. The dollar amounts that they produce and the amount of films that they actually produce is actually much greater, and it's viewed by billions of people across the world. And this little sort of beneath the surface depictions of Muslims in this media. Muslims make up about 15% of the population over there, so roughly about 150 million Muslims over there. But Muslims are oftentimes, when they're portrayed in these films, they're portrayed as being either terrorists, extremists. They're portrayed as being buffoonish, like very not smart. So like the people with long beards and hats are portrayed as being of not high intelligence. A lot of times are buffoonish. The hijab is sexualized over there, so Muslim women are oftentimes portrayed, wearing the scarf in one scene, and then like somebody will swoop in, and then her hijab will slip off, and now her savior is basically here, so she's being rescued from Islam. So that's what Islamophobia is. Islamophobia covers a lot of ground, and it's not just it's not just going to be violence or anything like that. It can be within the media, and we see this in the media here as well. And inshallah, we'll talk about more about this in the upcoming panels, I'm sure. But that's what I have for now. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Shukran, Mr. Siddiqui. I would like to introduce a special guest who will recite a poem dedicated to the Chapel Hill martyrs. Please welcome Ibtihaj Amatul-Wadud, and she recites Our Three Winners.
Shukran for inviting me here to present this poem. I'm honored to be able to present it for you all, and I hope you enjoy the competition. It is not that they were three beautiful human beings who were living three beautiful, momentous lives. It is that they were, in fact, human beings. But for one important aspect, they were viewed otherwise. Three beautiful people living life beautifully, conducting themselves in ways beneficial to humanity, striving hard to make this world a more bearable place to be, yet one inhumane individual had the audacity to view them as inhumane, and so evidently it was but for one important aspect they decided they needed to cease to be. And so with a cold-blooded mentality, with a cold-blooded intensity, he mercilessly stole from them their lives, and they were martyred instantly. So what was this one important aspect that was the reason behind their demise? They chose to follow the religion of peace. They were Muslim, and Islam, their beautiful way of life. Now, why in America, land of the free and home of the brave, where ever since the constitutional flag was raised, rights to religious freedom have been engraved, must we still be brutalized, victimized by the obviously depraved, all because we choose to follow one almighty God, and to him alone will we be enslaved? We are having our constitutional rights ripped from beneath our feet out of sheer rage. When will the brave America finally stand up and fight for the values of our Constitution to be saved? It was the night of February 10th, 2015, when in their apartment, their massacred bodies set the scene. They were transgressed upon and attacked by a ruthless beast. This savage dog didn't possess an ounce of mercy in the least. He purposefully took the barrel of his gun and forced it down upon their heads, and without second thought or hesitation, he barbarously shot each one of them dead. Our three martyrs, cruelly slain, Al-Azharia and Yusuf were their names. They were friends to many and the children of loving parents, cruelly murdered for their religion and appearance. How dare you, murderer, take their lives into your hands and then shy away from due punishment like a cowardly man? You listen well, for we have a message for you to hear. Now pay close attention, because we want this to come across crystal clear. Now you may attempt to beat the system, but it is God's wrath you cannot escape. As he is a just Lord, your due will come, so you just wait. We will not say that your hands are stained with their bloods. No, you are not worthy of such a blessing. Rather, their bloods have been stained by your filthy hands, and of this you are undeserving. However, let us enlighten you on just how ill mistaken you have been. Your attack on these three innocent lives has shook the world in ways you can't even imagine. The day our three martyrs fell was the day of the inauguration of the world arising. Your actions reverberated an outcry, the full exposure of Islamophobia transpiring, we are sure you must have had a misunderstanding about the effect of your crime. It is quite probable you hoped it would shut and stunt Islam down and discourage its followers over time. So now, how does it feel to know that you were all so wrong? People of all faiths have risen with us, and we are all standing strong. No longer will this world stand by and let justice go unserved. We are speaking out against the hate crimes, and we will not go unheard. All over the world now, it is known now more than ever that the disease of Islamophobia is very real, and whether one chooses to acknowledge its existence or not is their own discretion. However, we are sweeping this nation, standing up against evil, and it will get better, for the strong breeze of peace, unity, and salvation is the current forecast in weather. And whither this wind blows, our feathers will flock there together. To believe. We will continue discussing, dissecting, and ultimately destroying the phobia of Islam. This religion of peace and its followers have been attacked since the beginning of time. But I petition you, O lovers of faith, please do not despair. For we have traveled long and hard, and the time is finally here for the backbone of Muslim-Christian unity to be strengthened and openly declared. We must continue to strive and thrive together, for God has also been here since the beginning, and He was and is always aware. Let us rise above now in honor of our dear Dia, Yusr, and Rozan, 3 young, aspiring adults who were victimized due to this phobia of Islam. Rozan, artistically gifted, majoring in design, and only just a sophomore. Buildings, photography, and art were other things that she absolutely adored. And Dia and Yusr were a newly married couple with high educational goals already being attained. Both with dreams of becoming dentists, but neither for the money nor the fame, but rather because all 3 martyrs possessed kind-hearted and charitable souls. The intentions to give to and assist those in need was always one of their goals. Now, while the loss of their presence and companionship has brought an overwhelming amount of sorrow, let us find solace in knowing that they were chosen, that they were the chosen sacrifice for a better tomorrow. I know that at first it may be a little difficult to imagine that good can come from such a terrible tragedy is a little hard to fathom, but we must honor their legacy and realize that their loss was actually their gain. When a mother's soul is taken, there is no suffering and no pain. They are triumphant. Our 3 winners, they are, as they live on in a world unseen, their legacy will help carry us far. No doubt, the slain have won. Their lives have really only just begun. Let there be no misunderstanding nor ambiguity. Their sacrifice had a deeper meaning, and it was all God's decree. They have been immeasurably honored, and we too are the beneficiaries. You see, look what they have helped develop. They have strengthened our Muslim and our Christian and Muslim unity. From the depths of injustice and victimization has stemmed history in the making. For our 3 winners and all victims of Islamophobia attacks, we are striving for victory, and it will be ours for the taking. Lord knows we have come a long way and have been placed long enough on reserve. And it is now that we American lovers of faith demand that justice finally be equally served.
That was beautiful. Very talented. I would next like to introduce Amatul-Wadud.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're going to hear from me a little later when we start the panel discussions. I'm excited about that. Ibtihaj is my sister, and our three winners are ours as we adopted them in our community and our hearts. And the day that they passed away, our community, which is nationwide and runs the gamut of the continents, held janazah prayer for them in absentia. It was beautiful. We will honor their memories every year. One of our community members who lives in Holy Islamburg, Dr. Bilkis Abdullah, has befriended the father of the two girls, Yusra and Rizan, and that is Dr. Abu Salah. He is the father of the two daughters and the father-in-law of Dia. And in their conversations, he has honored Dr. Bilkis by giving her some words and has asked her to share them with you all. As you can imagine, the pain in that family is still very, very new and very raw, as it is still here with all of us. But he took the time to compose some thoughts, and he's asked her to come and read them. And so I give you Bilkis Abdullah.
Assalamu alaikum, hello, and good afternoon. I'm very honored to deliver this address by Dr. Abu Salah regarding his children who were brutally murdered. I pray I am able to convey his sentiments as he intended for you all here. In speaking with Dr. Salah, he expressed he really wished he could dedicate the rest of his life to eradicating Islamophobia and exposing radicals who indulge in hate crimes. Without further ado, I will read his address. Assalamu alaikum to all the participants of the Islamophobia Conference in Albany, New York. On behalf of our families, please allow me to convey our warmest gratitude to all of you for supporting us, thinking of us, praying for us, and for commemorating our three children who had fallen while living the best way a human being could live. Muslim Americans and all Americans have shown a heartwarming outpour of support and empathy to our families and our community. The whole world has been shaken to see such beautiful souls and such meaningful lives reaped so early. But to the will of Allah, we all submit. From hardship emerged blessings, and ease from their death emerged a positive image for all beautiful Muslim youth, and a light was shed on how our great religion can sincerely and genuinely be represented. Their murderer, Craig Stephen Hicks, has declared his hate to religions on his website, but has zoned in on most vulnerable religion in the West, falling prey to billions spent on Islamophobia. On the night of their murder, Razan and Yusra hadn't even parked their cars outside the parking lot, and Dia parked in his own space. Hicks had told Yusra time and again how he hated the way she dressed and looked. She told us, and she texted Dia the same, all included in the FBI evidence. On February 10th, Hicks knocked on their door, and without no argument or provocation whatsoever, he executed them all. Yusr and Razan were shot on top of their heads with the gun pressing against the hijab. Dia took many bullets with the last one added in his mouth as he lay down, taking his last few breaths. Our three winners have embodied how a Muslim child could grow up in the West and belong to their country and community, and how they could live the American dream while giving back and caring about humanity. The three have always enjoyed feeding the hungry, caring for the homeless, providing health care and dental care to refugees and to indigent Americans, while also building houses for Habitat for Humanity. Living Islam in the West and being proud of their Arab descent while loyal to this great country, our children have added more beautiful shades and colors to the American rainbow. Dia, Yusr, Razan have done all the above while also maintaining highest academic achievements and belonging to the elite colleges and schools that commemorated them in perpetuity. North Carolina State University created 6 scholarships dedicated to the candidates who emulate our three winners' virtues. Each is supposed to prove leadership through Dia, community service after Yusr, and creativity after Razan. University of North Carolina created a Dia Day of Service and 2 annual academic awards dedicated for Dia and Yusr. They also enjoy sports and arts and were young socialites. Their early demise and their beautiful lives have brought this whole nation and the world grieving together and have made all people of all faiths and walks of life reconnected for love, peace, humanity, and charity. They have also shed a wonderful light on how a Muslim American would live and contribute to this great society. Our families and the United Muslim Relief established our three winners endowment as a premier example of a Muslim waqf, now in excess of $650,000 and aiming for $5 million within 3 years. To contribute, you can go to www.umrelief.org and click on our three winners endowment. While we await justice to be served, we urge everyone to honor the legacy of our three winners by promoting peace, love, tolerance, charity, and humanitarian work all over the country and across the world. We will fight hate with love, ignorance with tolerance, and prejudice with acceptance, fairness, and a genuine desire to know the other. For those who allege that Muslims are a threat of their way of life, I say Muslim Americans are just another one of the American ways of life. As much as there are African Americans, Hispanic, Irish, Scottish, Jewish, and other ways of American life, we are proud of ours. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America, and bless the whole world. Best regards, Dr. Muhammad Abu Salah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bilquis. Very powerful. We hope that you've enjoyed the program thus far. At this point, we will take a break to pause and refresh ourselves, perform our early afternoon prayer, Dhuhr, and take part in refreshments. We will reconvene here at 1:30 p.m. Shukran.